You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Yeah, what up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. It's your boy, Al Mega. Today I have an amazing guest. I mean, this young individual has already done so much. He's an entrepreneur. He's a product manager. He's an innovation-focused strategist, and he is the founder and CEO of Momento NFT. Let's talk to this young man and see what's popping off in this world of NFTs and start learning today, folks. Let me introduce Julian Rodriguez. How you doing, kiddo?
Hey, good. Thanks. Thank you so much for having me, man. This is great.
No, thank you for coming on. I definitely want to talk about what you're doing over here because I've been reading about you. I see that you got into the Bitcoin early on. In back in 2013. Working with the big shots and right now you have this company that's trying to help content creators even connect, building those webs. I guess so. I want to get into what inspired all that. But before we even get right into that, talk about where you're from, where you grew up at. And then what led, what inspired you from there?
Yeah. So, I could start off. So my background, my parents are Dominican. So they're both Dominican immigrants. I actually was born in Long Island and ended up moving into the Bronx when I was 12.
Okay.
So I got
What
a
part of the
chance
Bronx?
So right on Fordham. So I was actually in what used to be Little Italy in the Bronx, Arthur Avenue, 187.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
right before the zoo. Yeah. I mean, I got a chance to see sort of what the suburbs were like, right? And then of course, right before hit my puberty years in the city. And so I got to the Bronx in about 98. And I mean, it was still right. Late 90s Bronx was pretty.
Yeah, it was wild. I'm a
Yeah,
90s child, if you will.
yeah,
Teenager.
yeah. And so, I had some family members that lived in the city. So it wasn't like too much of a out of left field. But I think it was a good opportunity, right? Like I was in the city. There's just a lot of people, a lot of energy, a lot of perspective, right? Like you're not in this kind of bubble. And yeah, man, I think that came together really, for the story of who I am.
All right, excellent. So that's who you are. But then, now, what led you to all getting involved into this technology and Bitcoin revolution and all that? Why did you start even learning about that? I mean, what's that background from? Did you go to college for this stuff, or is this something you ran into?
Yeah, no. So I was always into technology, right? I think I used to play video games. So I'm an only child, right? So I
Okay,
guess my
I say you
mom.
were spoiled.
Well, so my mom. So I guess I wouldn't be out, with older
And
kids.
I got you.
Right. So she was or at least she was okay with me, in a computer, playing video games, things like that.
Gotcha.
And yeah, man, I think she got a Sears credit card and she decided to buy me a computer. So that Sears right there on Fordham Road, actually.
Oh wow. Oh, so I remember that. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think from that point on, I kind of just it was natural for me to engage with computers, or like because a video game console is a computer, right? But you use it
Yeah,
to
you're right.
play games, right? So I think it was just really natural, and I didn't really notice how little exposure other people had to technology until college, right? So I decided to go to Fordham, which is a business school right there in the Bronx, also, right? I mean, that was
Yeah.
my whole world, right? And yeah, I mean, even there were kids that came from Pennsylvania, from Connecticut, Rhode Island, and they weren't into technology or computers either. So it was kind of
Okay.
weird. So I began to notice, okay, well, I got something special, right? There's something different about me or the way that I see the world.
Yeah.
And to be honest, man, it wasn't until the Facebook movie came out,
Okay.
right, that I
Yeah.
saw what this guy Mark was doing. Mark is from New York. He's from Dobbs Ferry, right on the
Yeah.
Metro North. And I just said, wow, I want to do that. Like, they made it seem so cool in the movie, right?
Yeah.
The way the whole story
Yeah.
went and everything. So I was like, man, I want to do that, And I had a couple friends that went to like city college, and we're doing computer science, and they were working at startups, and they loved what they did. They looked like they were having a lot of fun.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I was hearing horror stories in finance of like, working 10, 12, hours a day. So
You're like, oh God, no.
right. So yeah, I got lucky in 2013. I ended up working with Vitalik Buterin at the Bitcoin magazine.
Oh my God, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
and
Wow.
he was a sophomore in college. I was a senior,
Holy
and
smokes.
yeah, man. I mean, it just he at the time he was writing about 80% of all the articles by himself. And I would edit and review some of his stuff, but more specifically, I was focused on the physical distribution of the magazine in New York City. Right? New
Yeah.
York City was like the biggest thing really for crypto in the U.S. Way bigger than San Francisco, Silicon Valley.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. New York City was ground zero, and I think it was just that idea, right? Like, I mean, you wanted like the most diverse, most populated place in the new world is New York City, so it was kind of a no-brainer. And then of course, ground zero for a financial center, right?
Okay.
So we ended up putting up a physical location on Wall Street, the Bitcoin Center, with a
Okay.
couple of other people. And so yeah, man, I was there. That was my
Wow, you were there. You were
yeah,
at ground zero for real.
yeah, yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
wow, wow. So how long did you work, work with them, and what type of thing, what else you progress from there? Because, you just landed on this, huh? Like, you just happened to,
Yeah.
how did
So
you even get the job? Did you just answer an ad? You're like, yo, it was
no,
just,
I'll be honest, right? Like, because if you think about it, they were just a group of other kids like me, right, at the
yeah.
time. And dude, I was just looking up for information in Bitcoin, and
Okay.
all of the articles seemed to come from this one group, the Bitcoin
Yeah.
magazine. So I was like,
Okay.
yo, that's it. These guys are the authority. Because before then we only used to talk on this one like forum, like it's a
Okay.
BB board forum, like the old
Oh, wow.
school, right? Yeah. And so like
Wow.
nobody ran that. So it was just like up. And so the magazine was like the one center point. So I sent an email and I was like, hey, look, man, I love what you guys are doing. We can give you guys SEO services. And that's because
Yeah.
my boy had just got a job at an SEO startup in the city.
Okay, nice.
And so I was just like, okay, I'll do this with Nelson, who, by the way, today is our CMO at Momento.
Oh, word. Hey, look at that. Rising together, brother. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. And he's born and raised in the Bronx, actually, as well.
Awesome. New
And
York represent, kiddo.
yeah. And yeah, so I guess they just liked sort of the passion and like the way I was, I wasn't gonna take no for an answer. And
Good. Well, yeah,
so
yeah. Your Franco sending an email like, "Yo, I could do this for you. What's up?"
yeah, 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 yeah.
That's bold, but that's what you got to do.
As far as Vitalik was concerned, it was just like, okay, sure. Like it wasn't like it was nothing like, like don't it was actually like, man, how can we hurry up and get a hold of this guy?
Yeah.
And they were distributed at the time. Think about it, 2013. I think at the time Vitalik was in Canada, Elizabeth was like in DC, Mihai was in Romania or
Oh
Spain,
wow.
back between Romania and Spain. I had a couple people in London. So like we were doing this remote thing on day one. We would communicate through Skype back then. And
Skype sucked back then really bad too.
yeah, it did. It did. And yeah, I mean, I'm over here just sending off emails. And before I know it, there's like 20 boxes of magazines show up at my door. And
Oh
it's like,
damn.
so
Melodies.
yeah, so at the time, I was also one of the first ASIC miners in like the whole world.
In the
So
whole world.
in the whole world, yeah, yeah, yeah. So ASICs are application specific integrated circuits. So these
Okay.
are chips that they made just to mine Bitcoin. They don't do anything else.
Ah.
Like they literally can't do anything else.
Okay.
But the process is expensive. You got to get a foundry to like make the chip, design the chip, and fabricate it for you. But
Yeah.
luckily, this kid from New York, NYU kid, Yifu, he's from Brooklyn, I believe.
Hey.
He just happened to know someone at TMSC, like the founder in Taiwan at that time.
What?
And they were the only ones willing to make this stuff for him. And he had to pre-sell like 400K to get their attention.
Whoa.
Yeah. And so I was one of the people. I gave you $2,000 for one machine.
Yeah.
And that machine in a 24-hour period would make 2.2 Bitcoins.
Oh, ooh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I ran it for a couple months, and so I was just in the community, like, I felt like I was just in this different world, this whole different economy. I didn't have to deal with or to anyone else. We would figure it out ourselves, right? Like we're just all young people who, I guess, thought we were smart, and if someone needed a service, we'll just reach out, right? Like we'll figure it out.
That's insane.
And I think that's kind of a lot of people felt, right? Like, remember, again, this was in the time of like 2011 was like the Occupy Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
So people were really, especially young people, right? Like they felt like they wanted to create, or we wanted to create, a decentralized, self-governed economic system outside of the Goldman Sachs, JP Morgans, right?
Yeah. Understood.
So that was what it was really originally about. Then at the Bitcoin Center, what I could tell is that the speculators were starting to come in, right? People wanted to get rich quick and stuff like that. And there's a space for them. I didn't imagine they were going to be the majority. You could see that going in that direction. But yeah, 2014 rolled around, and Vitalik wrote up the white paper for Ethereum.
Okay.
We released it as a 6-page spread in the magazine, and the rest is history, right?
Whoa! Wow, kiddo! Wow! Salute to you. That's amazing, yo. So, all right. So, talk exactly. How can people get into it? How does like a crypto and NFT if you operate? Because that's a lot of things that I know a lot of people in the community always ask, specifically because there's a lot of art related stuff. So, can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, so NFTs really just mean non-fungible tokens. And fungibility is just an economic term that means it defines whether something can be exchanged at a loss or not, right? So if I give you $1 and you give it back to me, right, there was nothing lost. Or let's say you just asked me for $1, I give you one, right? Each $1 is worth $1, right? Okay. So it's fungible in that way, that you're not attached, right, to that specific dollar bill that you have. You'll take my dollar, right? Gotcha. Most of the things in the real world are non-fungible, right? So your couch might be very specific to you. Your dog, for example, there's probably, if you have a golden retriever, there's millions of golden retrievers, but there's no your golden retriever, right? So replacing it, you'd incur some sort of a loss, even if they give you another golden retriever, right? So that's the idea with digital items now. We're trying to make them non-fungible, right? To mimic the real world, the way that our brains are used to handling items, right? Assigning value. So that's like the first step in assigning value in like a new world, is making things, assigning value and making them non-fungible. So that's all it was, right? Like the white paper for that came out in 2014, was an Italian researcher who just mentioned that word one time and was like, hey, we can start marking things on the blockchain, right? As non-fungible tokens.
Okay.
So the general concept to make it, it actually wasn't even pictures at first. The first major project was, I would say, CryptoKitties, which was kind of like a game that allowed you to like pair and mate different kittens and collect different kittens and stuff like that. There was a big buzz around it. It was kind of like Pokemon, but cats.
Gotcha.
And,
Kittymon.
And it really blew up. People really got into it. It blew up. And out of that, that's where Dapper Labs came out of. And Dapper Labs today is like huge in the space. They made NBA Top Shot and they do all these other projects. So they learned from that CryptoKitty process. That was in about 2016. And then I think that there were just a lot of other copycats around, right? It became much easier just to do sort of avatar-like pictures. So CryptoPunks came out just like
Okay.
pixelated avatar. And then, of course, today there's Bored Ape Yacht Club. Right? I mean, they just took over, right? And they're probably going to keep doing more things because they raised a ton of money. They've got a lot of, momentum behind them. So, and then there's other copycats, right? Like people have tried to copy to make these sort of profile pictures, shoulder up profile pictures. Again, from my perspective, they're just proving the use case for a non-fungible token. But non-fungible tokens are going to be just way, way more. Like the big brands, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Gucci, right? They're thinking about this as the future of membership. Right? So how can they offer membership perks to their community? Right? How can they engage the people who already buy their products in an extra step, right? Of exclusivity and whatnot. So that's what the brands are thinking of right now. We are taking it another step further in terms of content, which is we're attaching short form video to the NFTs, right? So this is right on the backs of like TikTok, right? TikTok is taking over the world, like period, right? And we saw a lot of that from like Vine back in the day. So Logan Paul, right? The Paul brothers, they got their start on Vine actually, right? And so we know people like it. It's just, I think there was never another time where so many people had mobile phones and mobile phone connectivity. Right. So now it's there, especially like with SpaceX, you see the satellite stuff. Like, Elon just did a contract with T-Mobile. So literally, if you have a T-Mobile phone, I think in the next year, 2 years, you can be anywhere on Earth and it's the same service.
Wonderful. I can't wait. I'm a T-Mobile customer.
Right. So
we just did a commercial for them.
Okay, cool. So that's where things are going. And then in Japan, they're developing like 6G, 7G tech. It's going to get crazy. Like we're going to be connected all the time, anywhere we are on Earth, like blazing fast. Right.
Amazing.
So you can imagine, and I was talking about it a little earlier, the idea that we are creating a new world where we spend most of our time or thought or effort in is a reality. Right? And so we are just one of the companies sort of setting up shop in this new world.
Oh man, check that out. See, so Momento. So talk about, because again, you stated it's a social media platform that helps creators, right, and follows profit from digital connections. So start talking about when this baby started being born in your head and why, this path.
So social has always been a big thing, right? Me and Vitalik used to talk about this all the time. And he was always very interested in social. The thing of social was very hard, especially back then where Facebook was the thing, right? It was the only game in town. And so what Vitalik has really wanted to do is hope that platforms step up and begin to use Ethereum, for social reasons. The difficulty with that is that right now, Ethereum is prohibitively expensive. So we can't really mine and do a lot of the things that we want to do at scale with Ethereum currently. Now, they're putting in some changes, and if those changes work, we'll probably be using Ethereum.
Okay.
But right now, we currently don't. Right. But I'm sorry. What was the question?
No, just talking about the birth of Momento and the path of it.
Yeah, so I think it was from those early conversations where I just always kept it top of mind. And I just, ideally, I wanted to make something that was going to put crypto in the pockets of every person, right? So literally, that's why it's a mobile app. It's social, right? Short form video is addictive, right? So really, it was just like, okay, what would be the killer app for Web3 for crypto? And we feel like there's really this sort of short form TikTok for Web3 kind of concept. Also, man, during that whole COVID year, 2020, if you just turned on YouTube and you hear things like Gary Vee or listen to Mark Cuban, who were all over kind of NFTs early on, this is what they were really talking about. They were talking about the creator economy and what the next step was, where this was going, right? Gary is always talking about make more content, own your personal brand, develop your personal brand, right? He's like the personal brand king, right? So, I think it was clear that all these things came together with what we were doing. And if we packaged it in this way, this would probably be the best way to get a market share. And it's working. So
Ooh, ooh. All right. So how does that help the creators then and the followers profit from the connections?
yeah, so this is the first time you as a creator, as a content creator, will be able to own your content, right? So
Okay,
like
so I'm on your platform and like this video will be mine.
it's yours. You price
Okay.
it. You define what chain you want to mint it on. You define how many copies you want to issue, right?
Okay.
And you send it out to your community. They pay you directly, right? We manage payments for you, but they're paying you directly, right? You have the rights. You
Okay.
give them, right? It's just super direct because what all of Web two and Zuckerberg have really done is they've convinced us that social media is about views and likes, right?
Yeah.
The reason they want that to be true is so that they can run ads against your attention,
Yeah.
right? They have your attention, so they want to show you an ad, right? And then because they feel like they did all this work, they did the partnership, they did the infrastructure, the tech, blah blah blah. They take 99.9% of all the
You
money,
ain't lying.
right? So like it just what it turns into is now they have all the attention, right? And so as a creator, you pretty much are just making random content all day, every day, and don't even know, right? Like what is actually good, what your fans actually like, because
Yeah.
now it's spreading the internet amongst the algorithms. And the algorithms only care about one thing: running ads, right?
Yeah.
So if the company needs to run more ads in Idaho to 12-year-old girls this month, that's what they're going to do. Right? So
Gotcha.
like then you have no control over who gets to see your content or appreciate it, or the value exchange there. Where here we're saying, hey, bring your audience directly here and share those exclusive moments with them, and you price it because you know
Ooh.
your fans better than anyone, right? So you have full control over all of your content.
All right. So is it through via smart contracts, stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we make it as simple as possible. We handle everything sort of on the back end, right? So
Okay.
every user gets a Momento wallet, and everything happens in that wallet, right? So
Ooh, nice.
yeah,
Hey, look at that. So this is a great way for everybody to learn about, I guess, this whole world and crypto. All right. So we're talking about, so it gives users access to sell okay. So limited edition content. Ooh. All right. So, but what's the type of content that I could put up? You said, is it more than just the videos?
we do short form videos and we do images, right? So you can
Okay.
upload an image, but it will move a little bit, right? Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So because the form factor is really for short form video.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Would it ever move to more, or are you going to keep it as a short form video?
So that depends, right? Like nothing is set in stone. I think we're going to test this probably for the next 2 years, see how people relate. Um,
Awesome.
if there's other things, right? Like, um, so the world I think is moving towards live stream more and more and more every day.
Yes, sir.
But so we have that integrated sort of on day one, but we might just highlight that more. And then who knows, right? Like I don't think anybody's really won the uh, I don't think anybody's really won the like metaverse sort of solution, right? Like even Facebook, right? Like they criticize them all the time because it looks funny, it looks weird. There's actually, oh man, it's so crazy, man. Like people really, I mentioned it earlier, I play video games, right? People really have been ignoring the whole video game space like all these years,
Yes.
right? Most people have no idea. Like a lot of this stuff we've been doing and experimenting with video games since like Dreamcast.
Uh,
you know?
Breeds. I love Dreamcast. My favorite system, and that was so under respected, under appreciated.
Crazy, crazy, man.
Right?
We were online. We were playing people
Yes.
all
Right.
over the
You.
world.
That's
We were
actually the
paying to
first
play.
one you could really go online with,
It
and
was.
these people don't understand it. The Dreamcast, kiddos. What? I
Yeah.
had the Japanese edition and the
There you
American
go.
edition. I had to have the Marvel
The
Capcom
amused.
Japanese, Spawn Japanese. I had some wrestling game Japanese on that
Yeah.
console. It looked beautiful.
But see, that's a very New Yorker thing, right? To like go and get the like, I used to consume Dragon Ball Z in Japanese and stuff like that. That's
Yeah,
a
man.
very New York thing, and so because we have access to these other
Yeah,
cultures,
we're
we have
blessed
access to
to
these
have
other
that
people,
access.
you
Yeah.
know, so we can get it direct, right? We tell somebody, hey, I want the Japanese stuff, bring it to me. They'll bring it tomorrow, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
nice.
I think we had a lot of insights, we had a lot of access, and that's what made the thought process different, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, for us, right, like really, and I guess where I was going with the video game stuff is really, if you see like what Grand Theft Auto is doing today, and by the way, has been doing for like the past 5 years, they
Yeah.
haven't changed that game. Kids are playing the same game for 7 years, right? They're on the same version of Grand Theft Auto, but it's just that good. Like
Yeah.
that is a metaverse, right? Like during COVID, my friend called me up and got me back into that game. I hadn't even really thought about it, and
Yeah.
because I've just been so busy. And bro, I spent 3 months just playing this game every day. Like we were teenagers again during lockdown and
That's
everything.
so funny.
And it is a metaverse. You can spend money. You pay Rockstar to buy certain items and goods. You put
Yeah.
money onto the game, right? People customize their avatar all different kinds of ways. And now these kids, the Gen Z kids, they take it even a step further. This is direct automation where some of them are taking up jobs in Grand Theft Auto. Like some of them act like they're police officers,
Yeah, right.
exchanging for goods, like they're stopping people, traffic infractions. They're making music videos, right? So like that level of detail, I think, is what metaverse is going to be like, and I think that could spread to all of Gen Z. I think they're just so much more likely to do that. And I think Zuckerberg's metaverse is for us, like millennials, right? We're
Yeah.
kind of stuck in between, don't really know which way to go.
See,
Uh,
like, see, not like us. I was stuck in between, pre-computer and then post-computer. You know what I
oh,
mean?
the X,
Right
right?
there.
Gen
I'm
X.
X. I'm X. I'm right there in that fun side. So I like hearing this, that you guys are perplexed in a way different way, yeah, but
Yeah,
more
yeah,
technology based. It's wild because I appreciate technology a lot. I never heard it from that angle though.
yeah. So it's definitely coming. And then when you look, I don't know what the babies are. I guess they're Generation Alpha or something.
Right?
But those kids, forget it. I mean, they're probably gonna be begging for Elon's brain chip, right? Like they're gonna want to be plugged in. They're not going to enjoy the physical world the way we do.
No, absolutely
It's,
not. Right?
it's gonna be a nuisance for them.
It's gonna be. What is that? The space movies. Everybody's just wearing, the same old clothes. Just walk around or use the restroom. Just go back to their room. That's it.
Yeah,
Everybody head down. They got
yeah,
the hunch because of the phones.
right. Yep, yep. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, it is the real world is going to be actually a nuisance for them, and so there's a big economy. I mean, right? Capitalism is about capturing as much money or capital as you can.
Yeah.
So, what goods and services can we give to this new generation? What's going to be What are they most likely to spend money on, right? And I think before the '50s, it was consumer products, right? Like your
Yeah.
favorite soft drink, your favorite brand of cigarettes, maybe even your favorite car if you have a lot of money.
Yep.
People don't care about things like that anymore, right? Like, so it's how can we sell goods and services in the digital world, because they really care about that.
I like this. Yeah, it's very good. Yeah. It's funny. I wish I was born a little bit later. I would have been rocking it. Oh man, even more. Yeah, I really think this. I like this conversation. So, all right. So, do you have any other plans for the future, or what's next for Momento? What's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, 100%, right? So I'd say we're about like 15% deployed, where the app is where we want it to be. So we still have a
Yeah.
long roadmap ahead. We're growing. We're growing really fast, and globally. I mean, we're global like on day one, right? Like,
Yay. One point.
Facebook and those companies, they weren't global until like year 2 or 3, and they specifically went to like other English speaking countries, right? Like England,
Yeah.
right? We have users in Indonesia, in Thailand, in Africa, right? So
Oh, awesome.
it's a total new world, right? And the buzz around crypto, every year and a half, when the buzz peaks, more and more people come into the ecosystem. And so again, we are trying to be that brand that people can trust to provide those tools that make crypto easy, simple, and safe.
Oh, excellent. So what type of backend security is in place for those geeks, that are listening?
Yeah, so our CTO Sudesh, He was at a cybersecurity company all the way to IPO called IronNet, and
Okay.
so that's his background is in security, right? So I think that like the blockchain offers a level of transparency and security above sort of like right if we were just holding people's money in our databases,
Yeah.
which is not what we do, right?
Okay.
So our users keep their private keys at all times,
Awesome.
right?
You hear that, folks?
So that's part of the name of the game. We actually are aspiring to turn your phone into your hardware wallet, which is why it's a mobile app,
Ah.
right? So
Okay. Cool.
yeah.
Ooh, cool, cool. So that's the plan. So what is there ETA on like the finally 100% product?
Oh man, I think the 100% product is probably 5 years down the line. But
Okay.
we'll be building and rolling out features. We
Beautiful.
need to learn from our users, understand what the creators want, what the fans want. We will be
Okay.
rolling out a token by the end of this year, which is really just going to allow
Ooh.
um, fans to benefit from the growth and NFT sales of their favorite content creators. Right. So now
Okay.
it's not just content creators making money off the content, it's the fans that support them as well. Right. So like even
Ooh.
if you didn't buy the NFT, right, because you're supporting that creator, you benefit from all of his legacy. Right.
Oh,
So,
wow.
so yeah, this is about building legacy on the internet because there's no legacy on the internet.
You hear this, folks? This is way different. I'm digging it. I gotta get this like immediately on my phone. This viejo's gonna try and learn. Don't you worry. All right. Awesome. I appreciate it. So, are you guys gonna do any shows? And, do like presentations anywhere
So
on the product?
yeah, we do about 2 shows a year for sure, which
Okay.
is well this side NFTLA,
Okay.
and we do VidCon. So both of those are kind of in the West Coast, but we have an event coming up, our own event. It'll be in New York. We're calling it Creator East. So
Ooh.
stay tuned for that. That's going to be probably Q2 of next year.
Okay.
And you're definitely invited, man. You should be there. We'd love to see you
Oh
there.
man, don't you worry. I'll dress up in my Comic Crusader suit. It'll be a wrap.
Yeah,
Get
yeah,
it done. I would
yeah.
love to connect with other individuals and learn even more. Absolutely, this has been a great conversation. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your time. So, just want to make sure to remind everybody before you go that this is where they need to follow Julian on LinkedIn. You go to J Rodriguez NYC. Check out everything he's doing. All right, please check out also the website, right, and download them apps. It has links to the apps there and everything, right, for them to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
it.
Please download the app, join the Discord. Let us know what you think, and yeah, play around. And you can apply to be a creator. We'll make you a creator, and start making NFTs.
And just to make sure the app is available on both types of phone, Android and Apple, right?
Android and Apple. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. You heard, folks. There's no excuse. No excuse. You got one or the other, right? You better get it done. And before we go, what do you actually do on the Discord? And how can the community get involved?
Yeah, so the Discord is just right. Like, if you have any questions about the project, you want to sort of figure out our roadmap. If you want to talk to us as a team, our team is in there every day. Right, it's not just like an admin. Like, if you say something, I'll see it. And I'll
Yeah.
respond. Right. And then, of course, we will be dropping. So we run giveaways and other promotional things related to some drops. Right. So you just have
Cool.
all the information there. But then we also will be airdropping our token to our community, right? So all of our users. And so the first place to really know what's going on is going to be the Discord.
Okay. You heard? You better join this. This gonna get in on the Wachinche when it's gonna drop. You heard? It's doing good stuff, people. That gossip. You heard? Get
Yeah.
it done. Then go to the website, Momento NFT. All right, get it done. I'm telling you, this is the future. Like he's telling you, our guy's been listening. He's preaching. He was preaching. This is NFT church over here, right?
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. Thank you so much, Julian, for your time. I really do appreciate it. Right, all these links are live below as well, folks. So click away, join up. Again, bro. Thank you for what you do, man. Thank you for being an inspiration, bro. That's what you're doing, bro. I'm like, I'm very inspired. Like, wow, look what you've done and what you're doing now, helping creators also, learn, about this whole space and and get involved. That's awesome of you, bro. Thank you very much from a creator to
Awesome.
you, bro, for
Awesome,
doing
man.
that. I'm definitely gonna try and join up on this bad boy. All right, and folks, as after you sign up, go visit the website comiccrusaders.shop. and also my extended family over at undercovercapes.com. You know where it is, all right? Con mucho cariño. Later, my brothers. Wepa!
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.shop and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store today.